Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about 3 of the most two-footed female players here on She Scores Bangers. Now, the last, 9 months of me religiously watching football games day after day, every single day, I noticed that the women's game is very, very unique in terms of how many two-footed players we actually have. Something that I certainly advise you start taking a closer look at, because the sheer amount of two-footed players, very highly skilled two-footed players in the women's game is honestly crazy, and it's so fun to see. In studying some footage, I was able to pinpoint 3 of the most two-footed players in the current game right now. This is in no specific order, but our first player on the list is Lia Volti. Lia Volti is recorded to be the most two-footed WSL player since joining the WSL back in 2018. She is predominantly right-footed, but actually passes more with her weaker foot, which is her left foot. I wouldn't even call it weaker foot because she just doesn't have a weak or strong foot. Both feet are just so strong. She had 85% pass accuracy in her left foot and 86% with her right foot, which is just a crazy stat. Now, since joining Arsenal after spending a few years in Germany, her passing accuracy has not dropped under 83%. And so when you look at such stats like this, her passing accuracy, the way she holds the midfield, it really all comes down to how good she is with both her feet. The way she's able to dictate passages, calm the midfield, or even start the press is so flawless. And given her defensive nature, she can drop back into any of the center back positions, either on the left or the right, which allows Arsenal a lot of creativity in the back, specifically if Leah Williamson and Rafa are paired up. One of them decide to pull forward. Lia Volti is in a position that she can drop backwards and play quite comfortably in either of those center back positions. A few interviews popped up where she mentioned that her youth coach actually would always make them pass with their weaker foot, and if they didn't do so, they would have to do push-ups, which does sound a bit evil. I feel like I would not be happy if I was told that as a training drill, but I mean, hey, it's clearly paid off, and I think if a lot of coaches can do that with their players not quitting, then absolutely do it. Swiss captain Lia Volti, definitely keep an eye on her, see how good she is with both her feet. You are going to be very, very entertained. Number 2 on the list is Katoto, who is currently unfortunately sidelined with an ACL injury, but her records before the injury speak volume. Katoto had 25 league goals last season, 10 of which was with her head, which is crazy. And then the rest of the 15 obviously with her feet, because what else would she be scoring with? 8 of which were with her right foot, which is her predominant strong foot. And then the rest of the 7 were with her left foot. That is a very, very good kind of split even half. She's won the Golden Boot 3 out of the last 4 seasons in the French league. In fact, in the last 5 years, she scored 97 domestic goals. Mind you, she's only 22. Yeah. Katoto is only 22, and her records are just astonishing. A lot of high-level strikers are very good with using both feet, but the stats that really push her and put her on our list here today is that she is just as good on both feet when she's playing anywhere on the top 3. She's so versatile, and that really incredibly helps her, because there was a few instances, if you follow her closely in the French team, even specifically in the youth stage, she would kind of play a deeper role, not so much as the striker, kind of like a false 9. She'd drop back in and kind of help create chances, work a little bit closer with whoever the 10 is, and use both her feet so well. When switching shapes, she can end up on the wings and also not have any issues sending in crosses with both her feet. Outside of scoring, she's had 27 goal contributions. That's a very high number, and you cannot deny the fact that her being so versatile with both feet doesn't push her to get 27 goal contributions. So Katoto, I know you're only 22, but heal faster. We need to see you back on the pitch. And I bet PSG is really missing her right now. Now, our third and final player on the list is Linda Dolman. Linda Dolman is such a dark horse that nobody actually realizes and recognizes how good her quality is. When I was using some math and running some stats, she actually sits in the 99th percentile on a lot of very important midfield stats. For example, she sits in the 99th percentile of shot created actions. And she also sits in that category for completed live ball passes that lead to shot. Her passing accuracy is also one of the most efficient, sitting at 86% completed passes from those attempted. So far, she's had 4 goals and 4 assists. That's a pretty impressive number if you ask me. Usually when people talk about Linda Dolman, they talk about how physical she is, and she is an absolute physical beast in there. But often with physicality comes sloppiness, but not with Dolman, because she's able to use those 2 feet kind of aids to how actually physical she is. Instead of almost looking stuck in the mud when she is in a very physical battle and trying to regain position or dribble, whatever it is, she looks very free-flowing, and it's like, well, wow, how is a player so physical but also free-flowing? Well, it's because she can dribble and use both feet so well. Dahlman spent 8 years in Essen and was a very important key role into the progression of the club and how the club has become right now. She's obviously with Bayern Munich right now, but looking at some footage back with Essen, you can still see some of that free-flowing two-footedness. A lot of goals, assists, they come with either feet. She's been with the German senior squad since 2016, and you look at that roster, she's one of those experienced vets in there. She won the Under-20s World Cup back in 2014, and even in the Euros final came on as a sub. If you're catching a Bayern Munich game, and I know she's not getting as many starts as she likes because of the competition that is in the midfield, if she's on, definitely keep an eye on how good she keeps that ball flowing even when she's in some kind of physical battle. Now, there's obviously some honorable mentions here, and the first one is Sophia Smith. She has a very clean 60 to 40% for the amount of goals scored with both feet, which is very impressive for the fact that she's, again, 22, very similar to Katoto. The only thing that came a little bit short and didn't put her on this list, it was honestly between her and Dahlman, but she doesn't use, or you don't see her use both feet as much when it comes to passages or when it comes to building up attacks. In front of goals, she can absolutely finish with either feet. I mean, that young player is a star. But behind goal, she doesn't seem to convey those numbers yet. But honestly, give her a few years where she's able to grow a little bit more, get a little bit more experience on maybe different parts of the pitch, and she most absolutely will be grabbing assists and all kind of records with both her feet. Another honorable mention on the list is goalkeeper Hannah Hampton. Hannah Hampton is widely known to have some of the best distribution in the game, and for a player as young as her, and for a player that's already relatively experienced as her, again, she won the Euros this summer. You watch her play, you watch her receive balls. I mean, she's so comfortable with sending very accurate balls ahead with either her left or right foot. Modern goalkeepers nowadays need to be very good on the ball with their feet, regardless of if they're playing with their weak or strong foot. But to see a player that is young, already showing those modern phases of the modern goalkeeper, be so good on her feet, but also be so good with both her feet is going to be a dynamite quality moving forward. The list can go on and on and on. Again, the amount of two-footed versatile players in the women's game right now is very, very special and unique. As always, let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Do you have any of those favorite players? Have you been impressed with any of those players that I just mentioned? Quick closing remark is that I will probably be inactive for the next week or two because I have final examinations coming up. I'll be a little bit busy hustling coursework and maybe not enjoying as much football as I would, or not studying as much footage as I would. So I'm not abandoning the channel. I'm just focusing a little bit on uni work. Anyways, as always, to stay updated and to continue enjoying the beautiful game, make sure you subscribe to me here on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. I will see you later.